Welcome to Sweethearts or Rivals. I'm Charla.
I'm Justin.
What are we doing today?
Today we are going to compare and contrast Fairy Tale and Sushi Go.
Right. Which I wouldn't have really thought to compare and contrast these two games because I would have thought they were vastly different. But upon playing both of them, there are quite a few similarities.
Absolutely.
The first of them being,
Yep.
It's suited for ages 8 and up, and it's good for 2 to 5 players.
Yep.
Now, Sushi Go says it's going to take you about 20 minutes, I think, right?
Yes.
Let's just double check. I don't want to be lying to anybody.
Yeah. 15 20
minutes.
Yep.
Whereas Fairy Tale, it claims it could take up to 40.
That is true.
Which we didn't check our playthrough, but it did not feel like 40 minutes.
No. But I can definitely see Fairy Tale taking longer than Sushi Go.
Right.
Yes.
And we didn't introduce our cat. That's Kaylee.
Kaylee.
And as long as she's not being really horrible, like meowing and making noise on screen, we just leave her on screen. It's easier.
Yep.
She'll just keep jumping back up. So, I'm going to carry on with some more similarities of Sushi Go and Fairy Tale. The first one being they're both card drafting games. So, if you're unfamiliar with that mechanic, it's when you get a hand of cards, you choose something. You can either play it at the time you get it, or you can take it into your hand, and then you pass your hand along.
Yep.
So that's card drafting. The second similarity is that it is a set collection game. So certain sets that you gain, you'll be collecting them over the course of the game, and then you'll check what the rules are and gain the points that it indicates.
Yep.
And certain cards will interact with each other to form the sets that give you the points.
You got it.
Yep. So another similarity is I find drafting games are always better with more than 2 players.
Yes.
And I can say that that is true for both of the games.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good 2-player game, but it's a better 3 to 5-player game.
And I think the reasons for that is when you're drafting, you have your hand of cards that you know about, and the next person has their cards they know about. You only choose one, and then you swap decks. And then suddenly you know all the cards except for that one card you didn't get to see. So when you have more players, you have less information on the number of players. And I think that's why you enjoy it better when you have more players, because I find it very easy when it's just me and you to remember all the cards and how they're going to interact, and it informs my decision on what I'm going to let her have and what I'm going to choose back and forth.
Right.
And it is much more difficult to do that when you have a lot more players, because that one deck of cards is going to go and I'm going to get another one, and then that's going to go, and I'm not going to see that deck again, or I'm only going to see it with a couple of cards left over.
Yeah, you get to make more tactical decisions in a more multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Rather than in a 2-player game, it's more strategic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good.
So another similarity is that neither one of them included any chits or anything to keep track of the score, which I do find it would be cooler if this one did, because you score in between each hand, whereas this one you just score at the end anyway. Yeah. But you both have to use paper and pen.
True.
Or if you really got a really good memory, you could score it all in your head.
That's true too. Yep.
Yep.
Right on.
And I guess now we're on to the differences.
Differences.
I have the first difference.
Yep.
The theme of the game is drastically different.
Oh yeah.
Sushi Go is cute, and Fairy Tale is not cute.
It's not cute. The theme of Fairy Tale is not cuteness.
Well, it's fantasy.
Yeah.
Sometimes fantasy art can be extremely cute.
Yeah.
But to me, this one's just your run-of-the-mill fantasy art.
Yeah.
Which does not appeal to me. And that's just a personal preference.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Sushi Go is super duper cute, and it's about little sushis.
Cool.
Yep.
Right on.
And that's my list. I can check them all off.
Right on. So for more differences, even though they're both set collection drafting games, they play in very different ways. Fairy Tale has 4 rounds instead of 3, which Sushi Go has. You're getting 5 cards every round from Fairy Tale, whereas in Sushi Go, in a 2-player game, you get 10. And the number of cards you're going to get in Sushi Go changes depending on how many players there are. So that's a little bit of a difference. The other big difference in between how they play is Sushi Go, when you're drafting, you've got your cards, you take a card, you put it face down, everyone's ready, and you flip it over and you play that card immediately. And then you draft. Whereas in Fairy Tale, you get your 5 cards, you choose one, you put it face down, and then you pass your deck on and you don't play the card. Instead, you draft until all 5 cards have been drafted, and then you're going to have a different phase where you're going to play 3 of those 5 cards. And everyone plays a card at the same time. And the other big difference is when you're playing those cards, Fairy Tale has a lot of more complicated interactions where the card I play may actually affect the other players as well. Sushi Go doesn't have any of that. Sushi Go is very much what I play is going to affect my hand, and that's it.
Yeah, the only effect to the other player is what you're taking away from them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, in that they do play quite differently. Okay.
Even though the mechanics of the games are very similar.
Yeah, the whole drafting and set collection very, very similar.
Yeah.
Another difference is Sushi Go, the artwork and the set collecting makes it very intuitive. So you can look at the card and immediately know exactly how that card is going to score in its collection. So in that way, it makes it very easy for you to like play really, really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it only takes one game and you know all the cards.
Yeah, exactly. For Fairy Tale, the interactions between the cards are a lot more complex. They can affect a lot of the players and not just yourself and your own tableau. And the other thing is the iconography in Fairy Tale is not that intuitive. So that's a big difference. It takes a couple of games of Fairy Tale before you really start to pick up what all the numbers and iconography mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because right in that top corner there's a big 6, say.
Yeah.
That's the points. But right in the bottom right hand of that square is the card number.
Yeah.
I always forever get those two switched.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
And it doesn't help that there's a certain card that doesn't have a card number, it has a card star, and there's certain cards that don't have a big number for points. They've got a star for points because it. So yeah, it's difficult to remember which number is which. Yeah.
But I mean, I would have to say after at least 3 to 5 games of Fairy Tale, then you've got the iconography down pat.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I find what would help with that, what helped me anyway, I went through the entire deck and separated out each card and actually had to study them.
Yep.
Whereas in Sushi Go, you didn't have to do that.
Yeah. So those are two of the really big differences, the complexity of Fairy Tale compared to the ease of play of Sushi Go, and then the intuitive iconography, whereas Sushi Go is very intuitive. Fairy Tale takes some investment to understand it. The last really big difference is because of the gameplay. Sushi Go, you're choosing your card and you're playing it simultaneously. So as the rounds continue, part of the gameplay is to look and see what everyone has, and that's going to inform your decision. Fairy Tale has that, but to a lesser degree, because in the drafting phase, you don't get to see what the other players are picking. You might see what they've placed in their tableau from the previous rounds, but still there's less information on what the other players are doing. So there's less of that information to inform what should I be doing this round.
Right. And that's good that you get 5 cards and you play the 3.
Yes.
Because then you can pick cards that, well, if this card's not going to work out for me, then I'll have something to fall back on.
Yep.
Or if someone messes up a card and flips it,
Yeah.
then at least I have a card to fix myself back up after.
Absolutely. And that's another big difference. Whereas Sushi Go, you're just playing cards, and when you get to the end of a round and you're getting like 1 or 2 cards because the decks or the hands are getting really small, sometimes you're just like, well, I'm playing this and it's giving me nothing. Yeah. So, yeah, another big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the similarities and the differences between Sushi Go and Fairy Tale, both card drafting set collection games.
Yeah.
Now, we're not here to tell you which one you should buy.
Oh, heavens
hopefully,
no.
we've just kind of demonstrated how they're different, how they're the same,
right.
and which kind of differences and similarities will let you inform yourself of your own decision.
Right.
That didn't make any sense at all. Inform yourself of your own decision.
Come to your own conclusion.
There you go.
Yeah.
That being said, which one do you like better?
Well, that's a little bit of a complicated question.
Yeah.
Because it depends on the group that we're going to be playing with or the mood that I'm in.
Yeah, true.
If I just want a light, quick, fast set collecting drafting game.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling extra cute, I'm going to want to play Sushi Go.
Yeah.
Or if like my mom and dad wanted to play a new card game, I would play Sushi Go with them.
Yeah.
But if I'm playing with more gamers that are more into this kind of theme and art
and complexity,
and I want a little bit more complexity,
yeah,
I'm going to want to play Fairy Tale.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
That's me.
Yeah, like a lot of times if we're going to do a comparison contrast video, I'm almost in my mind, in the back of my mind, thinking at the end of this, I'm probably going to pick one to keep and one that we should get rid of or something. But in this case, not at all.
No.
Like at no point I'm like, okay, so I like Sushi Go better, Fairy Tale can go. Not at all. There's enough differences that, yeah, I can't see getting rid of either one.
Right.
For the exact same reasons that you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't, I would think that you would like Fairy Tale better because of the complexity.
Not necessarily. If I'm sitting down with a group of gamers that want a lot of intricate interactions between cards, you know, a lot more complexity, a lot more things to think about, then yeah, Fairy Tale for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if I'm looking for a filler,
yeah,
Sushi Go is a much better filler because it takes all of like
3
a minute.
seconds to,
yeah,
well, not 3 seconds.
A minute to set it up, explain how to play, and begin playing.
Yeah.
And then 10 to 15 minutes later, you're done.
Right.
And everyone's like, that was cool, let's play again.
Right. If the pizza's not there yet, play again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't prefer either one. It's situational.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like them both.
Awesome.
Cool. So there's our comparison contrast video.
Yeah. And if there's any other games that you want to suggest or see compared and contrast, please leave a comment in the video below and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. Right on.
Thanks for watching.
Later.
We'll see you next time.
See ya. Thank you.